In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the rear differential cover on this Ford F-150. Make sure you have the right one for your truck because Ford used different differentials in this generation. We're working on the 09 to 2011. If you have a 12 to 14, it may have a different cover. Let's get started. With a collection bucket underneath, remove all the 13mm bolts holding this cover on. Pull it away. You may or may not need a pry bar or a screwdriver to tap in here and pry it out. Now I'm going to take a razor blade. There was a lot of RTV here, so I'm going to scrape this off, and then you can either use new RTV or use a gasket. The reason I recommend a razor blade is because anything that is very abrasive, it could damage the surface to where it's not flat anymore. And in that case, you'll have some serious issues sealing this back up. So try to keep it flat. Also, if you have a lot of debris here, in my case it's just some RTV that I can fling away, I suggest covering the gear set here so that you don't accidentally get a bunch of debris in here, but usually I do that when there's a lot of rust involved. In this case, I can easily fling all the scrapings just away. So good to go. Just go around, get all the old RTV off, and then of course we will degrease it. You want it clean and degreased so that the new gasket can do its job. I'm going to use some brake parts cleaner on a rag. I'll soak this down, and then we'll go around the whole surface, degrease it, make sure it's nice and clean, ready to accept the new gasket. This is especially important if you're using RTV and not an actual gasket. RTV needs to have a dry surface to bond to. If it is not completely dry, it may not stick. So I'm also going inside these bolt holes, and I'll spray them out, or I'll blow compressed air in them after I put the brake parts cleaner in them. The reason I do this is because oil and debris gets in there, and especially if there's oil, a lot of times it could compress to the point where it can cause damage because it can't go anywhere as you put the bolt through. So either it won't torque or tighten properly, or you could cause damage to the threads in there from basically over tightening it, but due to the compression of the oil. So take the blow nozzle, blow these out. I'm putting a rag over so it doesn't get everywhere. Okay, this looks perfect to me. Let's get the gasket and the cover. I have a gasket. Once again, if you want to use RTV, go right for it. But for the gasket, it only goes on one way, which is this way. If you flip it around, the bolt holes will not all line up. So once you have that figured out, put the cover over and get at least one bolt hole line up. I'm just gonna aim for that one. Get a bolt, stick it through. That'll hold everything in place for you. Start it on by hand, best you can. And then I'm gonna start one down here. I'm basically gonna go across, and once I get two in, I can guarantee that everything is as lined up as it'll be. Now I can just go around a circle, start them all, and of course we're gonna tighten them and torque them. Doesn't matter where you start, but what does matter is that you go in a cross pattern so this can squish down on the differential evenly. I'm going to start here, go across, and so on and so forth. They're all tightened, let's torque them. 33 foot-pounds is the torque for these. Now that it's snug, I'm just going to go around in a circle. I'll double check them. Okay, that's all set. Now let's fill the differential. Right here on the driver's side front of the differential, you'll have a 3/8 drive plug. Put a ratchet in there, break this free, remove it the rest of the way. When you pull these out, it's also a good idea to inspect them. Oftentimes they are magnetic. As you can see, there's some buildup on here. This is normal, so if you see it, don't be alarmed. This is normal wear. The bad thing to see is chunks, but this is normal. Regardless, let's fill it. This takes almost 3 quarts of 75 W140, and if you have a limited slip differential, which in our case this is, you want to make sure you put either fluid that already has limited slip additive in it, or friction modifier, or you use your separate friction modifier after you've put in your 3 quarts of gear oil. All right, let's add our gear oil. You'll know that it's full when it starts coming out through the fill plug. Not like this. This is just what's dripping on the side of the bottle, but basically if it starts dripping out continuously after you've added almost 3 quarts, that's how you know it's full. Oh, there we go. That's coming out. So I'm going to plug it up. Wipe this off. Let's snug this up. As soon as it bottoms out, give it a little extra and you should be all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.